إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد. Before I begin, today, just to get the date correct inshallah for the record, which is the 7th of Sha'ban, which is the month after Rajab, the month before Ramadan in the year 1435, coinciding with Thursday, the 5th of June in 2014. I'm here and honored to be here in the presence of my brothers, my respected and noble students of knowledge, and at this masjid here, Masjid al-Sunnah al-Nabawiyyah in the city of Philadelphia in the United States of America. I am honored to be introduced by my beloved brother Abu Abdullah Hassan al-Somali Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, and also to be in the presence of others of his caliber from the students of knowledge that have been praised by Ahlul Ilm, the likes of our brother Abu Hassan Malik Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, our brother Anwar Wright, and our brother Abdul Wali, and others who are present from the students of knowledge and the du'at who have been active in the da'wah to Salafiyyah here in the United States of America. This, of course, as you are well aware, is not my first visit to the United States. I have visited on several occasions before, even in the era of our noble brother Abu Uwais rahimahullah ta'ala, in his era when the da'wah was being solidified and consolidated and clarified in his era. And we were honored also in those times to be invited by the likes of Abu Uwais for the purpose of being united upon the haqq, regardless of where we are, whether we be in the United Kingdom or the United States. And I remember Abu Uwais rahimahullah ta'ala inviting him, myself, after being advised by our brother Abu Talha, Dawood Burbank, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala. I remember I think it was 1996, that I said to our brother Abu Talha, Rahimahullah, I said to him, who do you advise with inviting from the United States to come as aid us in the da'wah, with the translations, with the durus and so on? He said, I can't think of anyone beyond Abu Uwais, Rahimahullah. And I said to him, but I've heard that some of the people are refuting him in the United States, as some of them were, like the likes of Abu Muslima, and others were speaking ill of him. He said, I don't care what they say. Abu Uwais is the one who introduced me to Da'wah to Salafiyyah. And he is the one that I trust. And he has been steadfast from the day that I knew him. And that was, of course, back in 1996 or 1997 when I had this conversation with him. So we invited him to the United Kingdom, and without a doubt he had a strong effect upon the da'wah in the United Kingdom. And I saw him in the company of our brother Abu Talha. Both of them, of course, now have passed away, rahimahumullah, that they have passed away, and both of them, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower them with His mercy and forgive them their shortcomings and enter them into the gardens of paradise. And both of these, I saw them and I was in their company. And I saw over the years their effect upon the da'wah. Of course, they weren't the only two, and they were the ones who, or from those individuals who introduced us to the scholars. Abu Talha with his translations, rahimahullah, of the works of Shaykh al-Albani, Shaykh Rabi', Shaykh Muqbil, Shaykh Ibn Baz, Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen, and other than them from the ulama. And likewise, our brother Abu Uwais was from the first, if not the first, and Allah knows best, of those who openly refuted Abu Muslima and his bid'ah and his hizbiyah that he wished to spread in the United States of America. So these people were brave men. They had courage. And they wouldn't fear the blame of the blamers. And anyone who met the likes of Abu Uwais rahimahullah ta'ala, then no one could have doubted the man's courage and his standing in the face of opposition of the mukhalifeen. Abu Talha rahimahullah ta'ala, likewise in his writings, he was vehement against Ahlul Bid'ah. He translated Sharh al-Sunnah in a time when the Aqeedah and the Manhaj in the Western world generally was vague. The methodologies were vague. He translated that back in 1993. Photocopies of his handwritten translation of the book were being circulated before the book actually came out. And then the book was published in 1995, Sharh al-Sunnah Barbahari in 95. It shows the effort of these types of individuals. And this is not to raise them beyond their level. Neither of them wanted to be called an alim. Neither of them. They would race. Even if you called either of them sheikh, then they would get angry. How dare you call me sheikh? Because the connotation in the West of the word sheikh has the connotation of alim, even though amongst the Arab it is different. So they didn't even want to be called sheikh. Brother is enough. Uncle at the most. Ustad maybe. Sheikh, no, they didn't want to be called sheikh or alim. So we are from them and they are from us. I benefited from them and I regard both of them to be from my teachers. Amongst, of course, not to, take away from that which we have benefited from the ulama, as they benefited from the ulama. But everyone is given his due. وَلَا نُزَكِّي عَلَى اللَّهِ أَحَدٍ. And we do not glorify anyone beyond Allah. Nevertheless, the ulama that they introduced the brothers to, and the ulama that you are continually being introduced to and being connected to, they are Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. They are considered as the Jama'ah. As Ishaq ibn Rahawayh rahimahullah ta'ala said, the great Imam, who died in the year 238 after the Hijrah. Imam Ishaq bin Ibrahim al-Rahawayh, when he was asked, who is the Jama'ah? Look at the answer. His answer was actually quite lengthy. But he said the Jama'ah are the ulama. They are the Jama'ah. And likewise when Abdullah ibn Mubarak, the great Imam who died in the year 181 after the Hijrah, he was asked the question, Manil Jama'ah? Who is the Jama'ah? He said, Abu Bakr wa Umar. So it was said, Qad mat Abu Bakr wa Umar. But Abu Bakr and Umar are dead. So who is the Jama'ah? He said, it is Fulan wa Fulan. They said, Qad mat Fulan wa Fulan. And so is also have died. So and so is also dead. Or so and so are also dead. So who is the Jama'ah? Then he said, it is Abu Hamza al-Sukkari al-Khurasani rahimahullah ta'ala. Quoting an alim from the ulama of that time, an imam from the a'imma. The Jama'ah, my brothers and sisters, are the ulama. And they are present in every era and in every time. Just as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in that hadith that we are all familiar with, or we should be familiar with, reported by Imam Muslim in his Sahih, wherein the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي ظاهرين على الحق لا يضرهم من خذلهم ولا من خالفهم حتى يأتي أمر الله. He said that they will never cease to remain a group of my ummah manifestly upon the truth, or على الحق منصورين, or that they are upon the truth aided, طائفة المنصورة, and they are manifest, ظاهرين على الحق, that they are apparently upon the truth. They are apparent, they are not hidden. They don't conceal that which they possess. And they are not harmed by those who betray them, forsake them, those who don't aid them upon the haqq, those that when you expect the da'wah to be aided and the sunnah to be aided and you look around for support and you don't find them there because they are mukhadilin. They are betrayers. They betray the people of truth and they betray the truth itself because they don't want to defend it and they don't want to stand up for the haqq. Ahlul Sunnah, the Ta'ifatul Mansura, the aided group, are not harmed by them. nor are they harmed by those who oppose them from the mukhalifeen. And they will remain as such up until the command of Allah comes, وَهُمْ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. And they will remain as such upon the haqq. Every generation. Imam al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala said that they are ahlul ilm. In a narration, they are ahlul hadith and ahlul fiqh. That they are the people of knowledge, they are the people of hadith, they are the people of understanding, the fuqaha, the jurists, those who have understanding of the religion. They are the ta'ifatul mansura. And they exist in every era. There has not come a generation except that they have been present. They are the likes of Abu Bakr and Umar, as Abdullah ibn Mubarak said, and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Ibn Abbas and Abu Huraira and Aisha. And likewise in the generation that came thereafter, it is Abu al-Aliya, who died in the year 90 after the Hijrah, and Sa'id bin Musayyib, who died in the year 94 after the Hijrah. These are from the students of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. Or the likes of Al-Hasan al-Basri, who died in the year 110 after the Hijrah, raised in the household of the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Salama. He said that I remember hearing the khutbah of Uthman bin Affan at the age of 8 in the Masjid al-Nabawi. And then he migrated after the assassination. He left after the assassination of Uthman. He went to Basra. And Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu, Sahabi, used to refer the people to Al-Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah ta'ala. And the likes of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. And the likes of Imam al-Zuhri, who died in the year 124. And the likes of Imam Malik, his student, who died in the year 179. And the likes of Fudayl ibn Iyad, who died in the year 187. And the likes of Sufyan al-Thawri, 161. Al-Awza'i, 157. Imam al-Shafi'i, 204. You can see as the generations are going by, look at the names of these illustrious imams. They are the jama'ah. And then Ahmad ibn Hanbal and his era. And the ulama of his era, the likes of himself, Ahmad, Imam of Ahlul Sunnah, died in the year 241. Imam al-Bukhari, 256. And then the generation that came after them, the likes of al-Barbahari, 329. So into the 3rd century we enter and we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left a generation, has not left an era, except that Allah has raised ai-imma. And then in the 4th century, the likes of Imam al-Sabuni. 5th century, the likes of al-Lalaka'i. 6th century, the likes of Abdul Ghani, al-Maqdisi. And then the generation that came after that, Ibn Qudama. Then the generation that came after that, and then we enter the era of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. And then his students, the likes of Ibn Kathir and Ibn Qayyim, being the one who took and inherited the da'wah of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Qayyim. So Ibn Taymiyyah, now we enter the 8th century, 728, Ibn Qayyim, 752. And the likes of Ibn Kathir, Imam al-Dhahabi. These are from the produce of the da'wah of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Then the generation that came thereafter, from those who took the knowledge of Ibn Taymiyyah and they carried it. Even though that those from the Ahlul Bid'ah and from the people who wish to extinguish the light of Sunnah, the flame of Sunnah, they wish to stop the people from drinking from the pure Sunnah. They try to extinguish the books of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. So much so that Ahlul Bid'ah used to purchase the manuscripts of Ibn Taymiyyah, purchase them just for the purpose of burning them. So that everything that Ibn Taymiyyah wrote him, Ibn Qayyim wrote it, that they could demolish it and annihilate it and extinguish it. So the da'wah of Ibn Taymiyyah is crushed, because the da'wah of Ibn Taymiyyah revived the da'wah of the likes of Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Imam al-Shafi'i and Sufyan al-Thawri and Imam al-Awza'i and Abu al-Aliya. This is why Majmu' al-Fatawa and other books of Ibn Taymiyyah, Minhaj al-Sunnah and other than them, are filled with the quotes of those ai-imma of the Salaf. So they wanted that extinguished, because they wanted the people to take from the aqidah of the Asha'ira and the Sufiyyah and other than them, the Mu'tazila and other than them. So they wanted the books of Ibn Taymiyyah to be extinguished. They worked for 1 century, 2 centuries, 3 centuries, and they tried to bring down the da'wah of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not going to allow that to happen. Just like Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said in his Radd ala al-Jahmiyyah wal-Zanadiqa, that he mentions, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, that between the messengers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises individuals, ulama, a'imma. These a'imma that give life to the dead whose hearts have been killed by Iblis by the permission of Allah. Allah gives them life. Whose hearts have been killed by Iblis. Ulama, my brothers and sisters. Then the generation that came after, up until we reach the time of Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul-Waahid rahimahullah ta'ala. And Muhammad bin Abdul-Waahid, he gave life to the books of Ibn Taymiyyah. Muhammad bin Abdul-Waahid, he gave life to the manhaj and the da'wah and the aqeedah of the salaf of this ummah. So even though the people tried to hide it, Ahlul Bid'ah, they tried to extinguish that flame. They tried to extinguish the da'wah of Ahlul Haqq. Shaykh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised the likes of Ibn Abdul Wahhab and his children and his grandchildren and the imams of Ali Saud, the rulers of Ali Saud, Muhammad bin Saud, who became a student of Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, a ruler. And then his children who became imams and scholars in their own right. And that da'wah continued up until this day. From the sons of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, then his sons, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, known as the A'immatul Da'wah, the Imams of the Da'wah, compiling, writing, explaining the books of Ibn Taymiyyah, explaining the books of Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and giving khidmah and service to the books of their great-grandfather and their great-great-grandfather, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah ta'ala. Up until the era that we were introduced to the Da'wah, to Islam and Da'wah to Salafiyyah. The era of the likes of Muhammad bin Ibrahim al-Shaykh, the Shaykh of Abdul-Aziz bin Baz, and Abdul-Aziz ibn Baz himself, and Imam Sa'di, the Shaykh of Ibn Uthaymeen, and Al-Qara'awi, the Shaykh of Ahmad al-Najmi, who was sent by the ruler Malik Abdul Aziz, the ruler, the founder of the third state of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He wrote him a letter. He said, go down to Samita, go down to Jazan, and go and teach the people their Tawheed. So he left Najd, Al-Qara'awi, and he went down to Jazan to teach them Tawheed. And then he remained there. And from his students, Hafid al-Hakami, Ma'arij al-Quduth, Ma'arij al-Qubul, and the likes of Ahmad al-Najmi, from their students, the likes of Abu Shaykh Rabi al-Madkhali, Zayd al-Madkhali. Look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every age and every era, not an era passes except that Allah will raise Rijal. And I use the term Rijal not in the sense that you are males. Rijal in the sense that they were courageous. Imams stood for the truth, stood for the Sunnah, stood for Salafiyyah. And they remain till this time. And we like to think of ourselves as being a product of their da'wah by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what an honor that is, my brothers and sisters. That you can live in a time in the 15th century of the Hijri calendar, and that you are thousands of miles away from where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born and raised and spread the Sunnah and spread the revelation. Yet in this land, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you to Islam and the Sunnah. That in it of itself, my brothers and sisters, should be enough for us to continually thank and praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without ever stopping. That in it of itself, my brothers and sisters, is a bounty and a ni'mah that, my brothers, we could never repay to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah guides us in a land like this. A land, my brothers and sisters, where you are surrounded by non-Muslims in every direction. Yet Allah guided you not only to Islam, but to the Sunnah and to the Jama'ah. That is a point of gratitude, my brothers and sisters, that we take for granted. We don't think about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us by way of blessings, by way of bounties. That Allah guides you guides your wife, guides your children, guides whole communities like this community. And then on top of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the ability to establish a masjid upon the sunnah, upon Salafiyyah, where we can sit here now 1,200 years after Ahmad ibn Hanbal and say, Qala Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, usulu sunnati indana at-tamassuku bima kana alayhi ashabu rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We can utter these words 1,200 years later from a manuscript that was written in that time and then passed on generation after generation till he reached us. That's a blessing, my brothers and sisters. You're looking at the hardship that you are living in and the difficult times that you are living in. The Islam is under attack. The Sunnah is under attack. The enemies of Salafiyyah have gathered against us. We are living in those times. And you have other problems that you face on a daily basis. Your work, your families, your children, tarbiyah of your youth, tarbiyah of the next generation. These are all things, my brothers and sisters, that the solution to all of these problems, you will not find it except in the Kitab and the Sunnah and the Madhab of the Salaf. That's exactly what Imam Malik ibn Anas rahimahullah ta'ala said. And that's what he intended when he said the latter part of this ummah will not be rectified except by that which rectified its earliest part. This is the basis of our unity, the basis of our love, our mutual respect for each other, our affection for each other. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, مَثْلُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي تَوَادِّهِمْ وَتَرَاحُمِهِمْ وَتَعَاطُفِهِمْ مَثْلُ الْجَسَدِ. That the similitude of the believers is like a body. The similitude of the believers in their mutual mercy and their love and their mutual affection between each other is like a body. This is what the Salafis are. And this is more applicable to the Salafis than everybody else. Because everybody else is divided, even though they claim that they are united. They're not united, Ahlul Bid'ah. All of the other sects of misguidance, they are not united, even if they display outwardly that they are united. تَحْسَبُهُمْ جَمِيعًا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى. That you will consider them, or you would imagine that they are united, but their hearts, they are shattered and scattered. They are not united, my brothers and sisters. Because the foundation of unity is the revelation itself. And the understanding of that revelation in light of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, with the understanding of the Sahaba and the earlier generations. There's a beautiful narration from Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, from Majmu' al-Fatawa. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, in volume 4 of his Majmu', he said, قال تعالى, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. That Allah said that they will never cease to be at difference with each other. They will never cease, mankind will never cease to differ. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ, except upon whom your Lord has bestowed His mercy. And for this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them. So then, Shaykh al-Islam, after mentioning that, and remember the quote here, or the statement of Allah, وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ, that they will never cease to differ, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ, except for whom your Lord has bestowed His mercy. He mentions, فَأَخْبَرَ أَنَّ أَهْلَ رَحْمَةِ لَا يَخْتَلِفُونَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He stated, the أَهْلَ الرَّحْمَةِ, that the people of mercy, that they do not differ. وَأَهْلُ الرَّحْمَةِ هُمْ أَتْبَاعُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ قَوْلًا وَفِعْلًا. And that the people of mercy, they are those who don't differ, my brothers and sisters. This is the point here. That Allah mentions that all of mankind differ, except for the people who Allah has given mercy. So who are the people that Allah has given mercy to, who don't differ? He mentions Ahlur Rahmah, meaning the people of mercy, who do not differ because Allah has showered them with His mercy, hum atba'ul anbiya. They are the followers of the prophets. Qawlan wa fi'lan. In speech and in action. Not just giving lip service that we are Sunni, we love the Sunnah, we love Muhammad, we love Isa, we love Musa, we love Harun, we love Ibrahim, we love Nuh. Not just lip service. Because every Muslim does that. This is why he mentioned qawlan wa fi'lan. In speech and action, they are the atba'ul anbiya. Wa hum ahlul Quran wal hadith min hadhihi al-ummah. And they are ahlul Quran wal hadith. They are the people of the Quran and hadith in this ummah. They are the people of Quran and hadith in this ummah. فَمَنْ خَالَفَهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. And whomsoever differs with them in anything, فَاتَهُ مِنْ رَحْمَتِي بِقَدْرِ ذَلِكَ. Then such a person leaves the mercy of Allah to the extent that he differs with them. He differs with whom? With Ahlul Rahmah. Who are Ahlul Rahmah? Ahlul Quran, Ahlul Hadith. The people of Quran and people of Hadith. So the more that you differ with the people of Quran and Hadith, who are people of Quran? Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Look at the thinking of this great Imam, Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, from this one ayah, what he extracted. Other ulama have mentioned, from them the likes of Imam Shatibi, from them the likes of Ibn Taymiyyah himself, that Allah created two types of mankind. Those who are mukhtalifin, those who differ, and those who are Ahlul Rahmah. From this ayah. Because Allah only divided mankind into two. وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ. That mankind will never cease to differ except the people of mercy. That Allah has showered with His mercy. Two types of people. So who are Ahlul Rahmah? And who are the mukhtalifin? The mukhtalifin are those who oppose the people of Quran and the people of Hadith. Who are the people of Quran and Hadith? Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And who are the head of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah? The ulama. Who are the best of the ulama of this ummah? They are the Sahaba. And those who came after them. Then those who came after them. Khairun nas qarni, as the Prophet ﷺ said. The best of mankind is my generation. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. Then those who come after them. Then those who came after them. First three generations. In a narration, the Prophet ﷺ was asked, which of mankind are the best? He said, Ana وَالَّذِينَ مَعِي. He said, me and those alongside me. So the best of mankind, Prophet ﷺ and those who are with him. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ عَلَى الْأَثَرِ. Then those who are upon that path and follow that way. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ عَلَى الْأَثَرِ. Then those who are upon that path and follow their way. These are Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. They are the best of mankind. And they are the best of Ahlul Sunnah. They are Ahlul Quran wal Hadith. And whomsoever follows their way, then they are considered to be amongst them. And whomsoever differs with them to the extent that he differs with them, then he exits the mercy of Allah. So this thing is not just an academic knowledge. We are talking about being under the mercy of Allah. The forgiveness of Allah, the aid of Allah, the bounty of Allah, the blessings of Allah. The more that you oppose the people of Quran and the people of Hadith, the further you are away from the mercy of Allah. The more distance you are from being from Ahlul Rahmah. It is amazing, my brothers and sisters, with regard to that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us to in His book. Like we mentioned that statement, that the statement of Imam Shatibi rahimahullah ta'ala. He likewise mentions this statement, وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ. That they will never cease to differ except for those who your Lord has shown mercy. He said, here we realize and we understand that people are of two types. أَهْلُ الْإِخْتِلَافِ وَمَرْحُومِينَ. Those who are the people of differing and those who are the people of mercy. Those who have been shown mercy by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to be from those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showers His mercy upon, then you must be from Ahlul Quran wal Hadith, and you must be from the Atba'ul Anbiya wa Rusul qawlan wa fi'lan. And you must follow the prophets and the messengers both in speech and action. That's why our brother Hassan al-Somali, hafidhahullah ta'ala, mentioned what he mentioned at the beginning. That those who speak and those who talk, and they claim attachment to the sunnah, and they say that we are Sunni, and we follow the sunnah, or even they will say we are Salafi, then the label itself is not enough, my brothers and sisters. The label is not enough. Without tatbiq, without following that up with speech and action, then the label itself is nothing. What about those people who take on the label and then they contradict the label? They say we are Salafi, then they oppose the usul of Salafiyyah. And then they ascribe to the Salafi aqidah and the Salafi manhaj that which the Salafi da'wah is free of. You find people like that. And America is ridden with those types of people. Wallahu al-musta'an. Who claim attachment to Salafiyyah. Yasir Qadi, Shadid Muhammad, and how many countless others who claim that they are Sunni upon the Sunnah, and then they will utter statements that clearly oppose the Kitab and the Sunnah. And then when they are corrected, instead of humbling themselves and returning back to the haqq, you find them staunch and arrogant and haughty and proud upon the falsehood that they have embarked upon. The likes of Shadid Muhammad. Look what he said about the Sahaba. He said the Sahaba differed in Aqidah. People may say, well, what's the big deal? So he made a statement. One sentence, you're going to condemn a man? Look at what he's saying. The Sahaba differed in their Aqidah. So therefore, why are we worrying about our differences for? Meaning, let us sweep our differences under the carpet. That's why you find him where you find him now. With all types of people of deviation and misguidance. Praising Abu Usama Khalifa al-Mubtadi', as Ahmed al-Najmi quite correctly labeled him as an innovator, Abu Usama. Formerly American. Unfortunately, he's over with us at the moment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rid us of him. Those types of individuals, my brothers and sisters, Sahaba differed in Aqidah. Abu Usama, the Sahaba initiated bid'ah in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they were upon innovation and bid'ah. That you find all of them, that they want either to make some sort of belittlement of the Sahaba, or ascribe something to the Sahaba that the Sahaba were free from. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, he said that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, that they did not differ. Rather, he said that they did not fight with each other for any differing that occurred between them that was connected to the aqa'idah min qawaid al-Islam, from any fundamental, from the fundamentals of Islam. Never did the Sahaba. Rather, he said they did not differ in any asl from the usul of al-Islam at all. Qat. The Sahaba did not differ in any fundamental asl of the deen at all. Not in a qaida, not in any asl from the usul, not in any point of aqidah. The Sahaba did not differ. Then he starts giving examples. Shaykh al-Islam himself, Ibn Taymiyyah, Minhaj al-Sunnah, volume 6. He said in Asma wa Sifat they were united. In the issue of Qadr they were united. In the issue of the rulership they were united. I.e. that you don't rebel against the rulers. He said they were united. Ibn Taymiyyah in Minhaj al-Sunnah. Not an alim from the ulama ever opposed that speech of Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah from Ahlul Sunnah. No one said Ibn Taymiyyah was wrong there. That's why Shaykh al-Islam or Imam Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah Ahmad ibn Hanbal, at the beginning of his Usul al-Sunnah, look what he said. Usul al-Sunnati indana التمسك بما كان عليه أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والاقتداء بهم وترك البدعة وكل بدعة فهي ضلالة. That the foundations of the Sunnah with us is that which the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum, which the Sahaba of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam were upon. وَالْإِقْتِدَاءُ بِهِمْ, and to take them as a model and an example to be followed, and to abandon innovations, meaning, as the ulama say, to abandon that which they were not upon. For every innovation is misguidance. So why did Imam Ahmad begin with the foundation of Sunnah being with the Sahaba? Because the Sahaba were united upon the usul. They did not differ with each other. They were united in their belief They were united in their tawheed. They were united with regard to all of those fundamentals, whether it be with regard to the names and attributes, with regard to pre-decree, with regard to how to deal with the Muslim ruler, with regard to how to deal with Ahlul Bid'ah. The Sahaba were united. They were united that Jannah and Nar are already created. The Sahaba were united that there is a bridge over the hellfire that all of the creation will have to cross. The Sahaba were united in the fact that there is a mizan, Yawm al-Qiyamah, that there are scales where the good deeds and the evil deeds will be weighed. The Sahaba were united, my brothers and sisters. So now a man turns up in 2012 or 2013 and said the Sahaba differed in the Aqidah, meaning that if the Sahaba differed in the Aqidah, then you, O Muslim, don't worry about the Aqidah of the Sufi. Don't worry about the Aqidah of the Tablighi. Don't worry about them. Because the Sahaba differed in Aqidah. So what if Jamaat al-Tabligh differ? Do you understand where they're coming from, my brothers and sisters? This is why they say what they say. This is the mantra of al-Ikhwan al-Muflisin. The Ikhwan al-Muflisin, this so-called Islamic Brotherhood that was established in the 1920s by their founder Hassan al-Banna, and then furthered, the cause was furthered by Sayyid Qutb in the 1940s and 50s, and up until he was executed in 1966. That what they're trying to push across to the Ummah is that all of these differences with the fundamentals of belief are unimportant. What's important is rulership and political ascendancy. So therefore, if the Sahaba for nearly 5 or 6 decades, Ikhwan al-Muslimin have been trying to find out where the Sahaba differed in Aqeedah. They've been trying to push that onto the Ummah. And those who follow in their footsteps, the likes of Shadid Muhammad and other than them, and the likes of Yasir Qadi, and other than them, they try to push forward the Sahaba differed, Sahaba differed, Sahaba differed. So then eventually you and I will say, well, if the Sahaba differed, we can differ. So it doesn't matter if someone worships at the grave, prostrates his head to the dead one at his grave and seeks his help and assistance. It doesn't matter, because the Sahaba differed in belief. So what if he carries a different belief to you? If a person comes along and he says Allah is everywhere, and you say no, Allah is above the 7 heavens, and say leave him alone, akhi. That's his ijtihad, you have your ijtihad. So now the aqeedah becomes ijtihadiyya, open to one's own personal juristic opinion. So now if a person says that Allah is everywhere, fi kulli makan, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indwelling inside of the creation, it doesn't matter. Because the Sahaba differed. That's why they want to push upon you this idea that the Sahaba differed. Why? Because they want to unite with the groups who oppose the Aqeedah of the Sahaba. That's why they want to go to their platforms, sit up on their platforms, take money as they're sitting. You think these guys leave their houses for free? Do you think that they sit up on those platforms and they don't get paid? They won't leave their house and speak up on the microphone unless it's paid for. So now how do they open up the fact that they now want to go and sit on the platforms of Ahlul Bid'ah and sit with them and hug them, even if they call it the Jannah hug? No matter what they do, they want to sit with them because this is the way to gain status and to gain some sort of standing within the community and to gain money. So now you find them sitting upon all types of platforms. You find Abu Usama in the United Kingdom sitting with Sururis, Qutubis, Ikhwanis. This is what you find from them. And then when they are warned against, they say, Wallahi, these people, they're called to disunity. Look what Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said. Go back to the ayah, mankind are of 2 types. Ahlul Ikhtilaf and Ahlul Rahmah. So which one are you? Are you people who have differed from the Sahaba? Are you upon that which Abu Bakr and Umar was upon? Are you upon what they were upon? Are you upon what the Khulafa al-Rashideen were upon? When the Prophet ﷺ said, قَدْ تَرَكْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْبَيْدَاءِ لَيْلِهَا كَنَهَارِهَا لَا يَزِيغُ بَعْدِ عَنْهَا إِلَّا هَالِكٌ. That I've left you upon clear proof, its night is like its day, and no one strays from it except that he is destroyed. And then he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَمَنْ يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ فَسَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. that whomsoever lives for long from amongst you will see a great amount of differing and controversy. فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِمَا عَرَفْتُم مِّن سُنَّتِي وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ مِن بَعْدِي. So stick to what you know from my sunnah. When the differing occurs, stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided successors after me, the Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman and Ali. Stick to their sunnah. Addu alayha bin nawajid. Hold on to that with your molar teeth. He didn't say go and differ with the people, go and differ with the sunnah. It doesn't matter, makes no difference. Follow any path that you want. All the rivers lead to the same sea. That's not what the Prophet ﷺ said. The Prophet ﷺ said, when the differing occurs, return back to what you know of my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided successors after me. Addu alayha bin nawajid. Hold on to that with your molar teeth. And then he said, and beware of newly invented matters. Beware of what? People who come along and they introduce new affairs into the religion. They ascribe things to Islam that Islam is free of. So here we find the Prophet ﷺ commanding us to stick to the sunnah in times of differing. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likewise said in the Quran, وَاعْتَسِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ عَادَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions and hold fast to the rope of Allah, all of you together, to the rope of Allah, and be not disunited. And remember the bounty of Allah upon you when you were enemies one to another. And Allah brought your hearts together. And you became, by the grace of Allah, brothers one to another. Allah brought your hearts together, my brothers and sisters, based upon what? Upon the rope of Allah. What's the rope of Allah? What they decide? What Ahlul Bid'ah decide? Is the rope of Allah something ijtihadi? Well, I'll decide what the rope of Allah is that we're all going to hold on to. The rope of Allah. As Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said in Minhaj al-Sunnah, volume 3. He mentions, وَقَدْ فُسِّرَ هَبْلُهُ بِكِتَابِهِ وَبِدِينِهِ وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ وَبِالْإِخْلَاصِ وَبِأَمْرِهِ وَبِأَهْدِهِ وَبِطَاعَتِهِ وَبِالْجَمَاعَةِ. He said, indeed, the rope of Allah has been explained to mean the book of Allah, meaning his book, the book of Allah, and his religion, and Islam, and Ikhlas, and his commands, and his covenant, and obedience to him, and with sticking to the jama'ah. This is what the rope of Allah is. All of this is the rope of Allah. Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah ta'ala, in al-Tamheed, he said that the rope of Allah, it is the jama'ah. And they are the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum. That is the rope of Allah that we have been commanded to stick to. So then he mentioned, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, that all of these terms, all of them have been narrated from the Sahaba and the Tabi'een who came after them. And all of these meanings are correct. He mentions, for indeed the Quran, it commands with the religion of Islam. And it commands with the covenant to Allah and obedience to Allah. And it commands also with al-i'tisam bihi jami'an, that we stick to the obedience of Allah and to the covenant with Allah and to the religion of al-Islam, and to hold fast to it together, united. And he said, and that is indeed by way of and that is not done except by way of the jama'ah. So returning back to the jama'ah, and the jama'ah, my brothers and sisters, as we mentioned, are the ulama who take from the kitab and the sunnah. They are ahlul haqq. They are the people of truth, because they adhere to the truth. And this is what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud intended by his statement, al-jama'a ma wafaq al-haqq. That the jama'ah is whatever is in accordance to the truth. Even if you are one person. Even if you are one person. It is the truth that is beloved, my brothers and sisters. I have traveled now in the United States, just on this visit here. I started in Washington, D.C. with the brothers who organized that conference at the Masjid Ahlul Quran wal Hadith. And the reason why that narration came to me was when I visited them for the first time, I thought to myself, there's a narration from Ibn Taymiyyah about Ahlul Quran wal Hadith. I said to them that you named your masjid Ahlul Quran or Masjid Ahlul Quran wal Hadith. Do you know what you've done by calling yourselves Ahlul Quran wal Hadith and your masjid Ahlul Quran wal Hadith? Do you realize the burden of responsibility that you have placed upon your shoulders? That you've ascribed yourself to the people of Quran wal Hadith. They are the atba'ul anbiya, qawlan wa fi'lan. They are the followers of the prophets in speech and action. Do you know what you've done? Can you adhere to those principles? Can you adhere to that weight upon your shoulders? That you are going to adhere to the Quran and Hadith to the extent that you are now called Ahlul Quran wal Hadith? Do you know that Ahlul Quran wal Hadith, they are Ahlul Rahmah? They are the ones under the mercy of Allah. You have carried a burden upon your shoulders. And of course, ascribing ourselves to Salafiyyah and to the madhab of the Salaf. They are Ahlul Quran wal Hadith also. Because all of these terms are synonymous. Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. They are the Salafiyyun. They are the Salafiyyun, as Ibn Uthaymeen said, rahimahullah ta'ala, in his Sharh of al-Aqidatul Wasitiyyah. When he was asked the question, who is Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah? Are they the Salafiyyun or are they the Asha'ira? He said Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah are one. And they are the Salafiyyun. It's a burden, my brothers and sisters, that if a person is going to ascribe himself to something, he has to adhere to its principles, to its fundamentals, hold on to it with his molar teeth, because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded. You were enemies one to another, and Allah brought your hearts together. Brought your hearts together upon what? Upon kitab and sunnah and way of the Sahaba and the Salaf of this ummah. From there we saw the brothers in Washington DC. We saw the brothers from Baltimore. We saw the brothers from North Carolina. The brothers with Rashid Babi and those brothers. The brothers from Philadelphia and New York came down. The Salafi brothers. Brothers traveled from Florida and other places to that conference. From that conference, we went down to Florida and we spent the weekend there for the conference in Palm Beach, at the Islamic Center of Palm Beach. I didn't know that they had a Salafi community that strong. Salafis turned up from Orlando, from Miami. I didn't know there were Salafis in Miami. I just thought they were gangsters in Miami. Salafis in Miami, sitting down with notepads and pens in the durus. And now I'm here in Philadelphia at the brothers here in Germantown. And then tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to travel to Newark to the conference there. Thereafter to Chicago, thereafter to Toronto. Salafiyyah as I see it today. And I was here in the United States in 1997. In 1997, I came to the United States and I stayed with our brother Abu Uwais, rahimahullah ta'ala, at his house in Asbury Park. And I traveled to DC and I traveled to New York. From that time till this time, on and off, I've been coming to the United States. I have never seen the da'wah as strong as it is today and as united as it is today in the United States of America. And after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we thank the brothers who aided in that unity and in that strengthening of the da'wah. I have never seen the kalima of the brothers so united as it is today. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That it is Allah who aided you with His support and with the support of the believers. But the point is here, and this is the aid that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam received. But the point here is the next statement of Allah. وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قَلُوبِهِمْ. And Allah brought their hearts together. لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم. And were you, O Muhammad, to spend the wealth of the earth, you would never have brought their hearts together. ولكن الله ألف بينهم إنه عزيز حكيم. Rather, it was Allah who brought their hearts together. And He is the mighty and the most wise. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing, as Shaykh al-Fawzan mentions in his explanation of al-Ha'iyah, that it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who brought their hearts together. That even if the wealth of the earth, the treasures of the earth, were to be spent in bringing the hearts of mankind together, were to give each one a bullion of gold, it would not bring their hearts together. Rather, Shaykh al-Fawzan said that the dunya only causes the hearts to be split, because everyone has his own goal. Everyone has his own passions, his own desires, and what he seeks. So the dunya will not unite the hearts, but Allah united their hearts. Allah aided the Messenger of Allah. And the companions Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the best of mankind, aided the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had the best of companionship sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And they had the best leader, the best teacher, the best imam and the best prophet and the best messenger over them. So Allah united their hearts. The closer you are to revelation, the closer you are to the truth, the more that you bite onto the truth, up until you follow the madhab of the Salaf in totality, then the more united your hearts become. And then you truly become Ahlul Rahmah. And Allah will shower you with His mercy. In your families, in your dealings, in your brotherhood, in your mutual love. You will not hate each other. La tabaghadu. As the Prophet ﷺ said, do not hate one another. وَلَا تَنَاجَشُوا. And do not try to outbid one another or inflate the prices against one another. وَلَا تَدَابَرُوا. Do not turn your back on one another. Your brother needs you. When Salafiyyah is being attacked, we need to be more united. We don't need to split our ranks, just like we stand in prayer. And we say to you, stand shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot, heel to heel. Don't let the shaitan come in between you. This is in the salah, in your rows in the prayer. Likewise in our da'wah. Do not allow the shaitan to come in between you. Be united. Be upon the haqq. La wala tadabaru. Don't turn your backs upon one another. Don't abandon your brother. Don't betray your brother. He needs you. The da'wah to Salafiyyah, when it is being attacked, don't run. Don't run for cover. Stand like a man. Let them come, we'll stand. And we'll stand as one. We'll stand united. Who wants to come and damage this da'wah? The Ash'aira, the Mu'tazila, the Sufiyyah, the Shia, the Jam'iyyat, the Jama'at, the Firaq, the sects, the groups, the parties. They want to come and give us their sweet words and throw money at us. We are not interested. The Salafi cannot be bought. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam could not be bought. They said, we'll give you the wealth of Quraysh if you give up. He said, I don't want your wealth. He wouldn't take it. They said, we'll give you the most beautiful woman. He said, I don't want it. They said, we'll make you our leader. Not interested. What do you want? All he wanted, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was for them to say, La ilaha illallah. To believe in Allah and to submit to Allah. Inna alladhina qalu rabbuna Allah thumma istaqamu. Those who say that our Lord is Allah, then they are steadfast. The reason why da'wah to Salafiyyah is now so strong in the United States of America, thousands, tens of thousands I would say, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, New Jersey, Philadelphia, other parts of Pennsylvania, Washington, Maryland, or Maryland, whatever you call it. What is it, Maryland or Maryland? Florida. Salafis in Florida, Salafis in California. We got some brothers that we met in Medina just about 2 weeks ago. They work in Riyadh and they live in Riyadh and they're doing dawah in Mexico City. Masjid Markaz Salafi in Mexico City. The world capital of kidnapping. Salafis there. Salafis in Brazil. I'm on a WhatsApp group and there's Salafi brothers in Brazil giving da'wah. Returning back to the United States, da'wah Salafiyyah is strong because of this tamassuk. The further you are away from Ahlul Quran wal Hadith, the further you are away from the mercy of Allah and the closer you are to ikhtilaf and differing and splitting. So hold fast, my brothers and sisters, to the book and the sunnah. Don't let people come and divide your word. Be as the Prophet ﷺ said, that the believer in his mutual mercy and his love and his affection is like one body. It's like one body, my brothers and sisters. That's how we should be. This is why you see Dawah Salafiyyah spreading so vehemently across the United States of America. That we make idhar of our Salafiyyah. We don't hide it in our pockets. We make it apparent. We show the people that we're upon the Salafiyyah. And we tell the people these are our ulama. And it is a shame that you don't know the ulama. We don't hide the fact that we take from Bin Baz, Ibn Uthaymeen, Al-Albani, Muqbil, Ahmed al-Najmi, Zayd al-Madkhali, Rabi al-Madkhali, Fawzan, Al-Luhaydan, Ubayd al-Jabari, Muhammad ibn Hadi. We don't hide that from the people. We don't hide from the people Ahmed ibn Hanbal. And we're upon the madhab of Ahmed in our aqeedah. And the madhab of Shafi'i in our aqeedah. The madhab of Malik in our aqeedah. Because their aqeedah was one aqeedah. We don't hide it. Like Ahlul Bid'ah. When you speak to them, you say, what's your madhab? They say, oh, I'm Maliki. Say, you Maliki? Everything Maliki, you Maliki, Imam Malik, khalas, Maliki. I said, no, my aqeedah, Ash'ari. That's all you thought, you said you're Maliki. No, you're Maliki, but I'm Ash'ari in aqeedah. I say, okay. Anything else? Yeah, I'm Sahawardi in tariqah, Sufi. Anything else? Yeah, Ikhwani in outlook. So where's Malik gone then? Malik's been relegated. Huh? Somewhere in the background, you make wudu like Malik. Bas? But your aqeedah is Ash'ari, which opposes the aqeedah of Malik. Your tariqah is some Sufi, Chishti, Qadiri tariqah in Sufiya that opposes Malik. Your outlook is Ikhwani, basically Khariji, Mu'tazili. So where's Malik gone? They just use these as covers, my brothers and sisters. That, by the way, is the likes of Hamza Yusuf and those people. And the likes of Nuh Hamim Kala and those Shafi'i. What Shafi'i? He says, I'm Shafi'i. Aqeedah, Ash'ari. What, Shafi was Ash'ari? Yeah, Shafi was Ash'ari. How is that possible when Malik, Shafi died in 204, Ash'ari, Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, he died in 324, 2 centuries later. How can the one before follow the one who came after? Important, my brothers and sisters, that we recognize that though they claim that they are united, قُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى. Their hearts are divided and separated. Ahlus Sunnah, we are united. Even if I differ with my brother, I may argue with my brother, I may fall out for a couple of hours with my brother, then get on that phone and ring him and say, Ya akhi, I'm sorry. This is Ahlus Sunnah. Yes, we can there's a hadith that Abu Bakr and Umar had a dispute. They argued with each other on an occasion. They argued with each other. Voices were raised. Umar stood up, left. As Umar reached his house, he felt remorse. How can I argue with Abu Bakr? How can I argue with Abu Bakr? Abu Bakr, as Umar's leaving, going to his house, Abu Bakr feels remorse in his heart. This is Umar. How can I be angry with Umar? Abu Bakr gets up and goes to the house of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to ask him and to ask him to intercede. And he said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I argued with Umar. And voices were raised and we disputed. Umar in the meantime is returning back to the house of Abu Bakr to apologize. In the meantime, Abu Bakr continues explaining to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that I believe it was my fault. No, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no. He should not argue with you. So when Umar reaches the house of Abu Bakr, he finds Abu Bakr is not there. So then he thinks, he must be with Rasulullah. So he goes all the way he goes back to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, knocks on the door to come in to apologize to Abu Bakr. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, you Umar are arguing with him? Abu Bakr says, no, Ya Rasulullah, it's my fault. It's me. He says, no. You are the one who said that I believe in you when the people disbelieved in me. Look at how the Sahaba were. Look at how their hearts were, my brothers and sisters. How much love, affection, even if something occurred between them, look how quick they were. Love, ulfa, muhabba, that they had between each other. Why? Because they knew that they were upon the same path. As the Prophet ﷺ said, هَذَا سَبِيلُ اللَّهِ وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا. He recited the ayah after drawing the line. He said, this is the straight path of Allah. وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا السُّبُلَ فَتَّفَرَّقَ بِكُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ. And follow my straight path and do not follow other paths, for they will divide you from his straight path. The straight path is what they were upon. So whatever may occur between them, wallahi, they were united in their hearts. They didn't even like their physical bodies being separated from each other. They didn't even like that, my brothers and sisters. As the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ on an occasion when they were upon a journey, and the companions, they disembarked and they separated from each other whilst they were just relaxing. So the Prophet ﷺ called them. He said, this separation of yours in the pathways, this separation of yours is from shaitan. Physical, bodily separation is from shaitan. Let me ask you, my brothers, were their hearts united? The Sahaba, were their hearts united? Yes. So if the physical, bodily separation upon a journey is from shaitan, what about the division of the hearts? Min bab awla, that is from shaitan. That is more from shaitan than, because a man can physically be separate from another brother. Like we are in the United Kingdom, you're in the United States. There are brothers, there's brothers up in the Antarctic. The brother WhatsApped me, he said, listen, Akhi, we're up in there. And some of these Inuit Indians, if I pronounce that correctly, Eskimos basically, becoming Muslim Salafi. Can we organize some telelinks and introduce them to the scholars and the works of the scholars? Salafi is up there. From Toronto, I think it's about a 6-hour flight or something ridiculous like that. North you have to go. One flight every 2 weeks or something like that. Salafis in Alaska. Salafis in Brazil. Salafis in Pakistan. Salafis in China. Salafis in Japan. Salafis in Australia. We do telelinks with Salafis in New Zealand. Our hearts are united because our aqidah is one. Our methodology is one. Our outlook is one. We look at the world through the same lens. We look at the world through the same lens. We look at the revelation through the eyes of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. That's what unites our hearts. But when they're upon a journey, those Sahaba, and they separated from each other, just relaxing one there, one there. He said, no, come together. For this division, bodily division is from shaitan. So what about Muslims? One Muslim believes Allah is everywhere. And this is a belief, of course, kufr, to believe that Allah is everywhere. Another Muslim believes that Allah is above the 7, ba'in min khalqihi, that He's distinct and separate from His creation, above the 7 heavens. That is the belief of Ahlul Sunnah. So if they're divided in their aqidah, one Muslim believes that you can bow down to the graves, the other one says it's shirk. One Muslim believes that you can go to a soothsayer or to a fortune teller or to an astrologer. Another Muslim says that that's kufr. That's the knowledge of the unseen, possessed only by Allah. Can their hearts be united? Impossible. Cannot be united because their aqidah is not one, their belief is not one, their outlook is not one. So never mind bodily separation, their hearts aren't united in the first place. But it's the revelation that united the hearts of the Sahaba. فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who united their hearts. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep our hearts united. Barakallahu feekum. We've invited the brothers. We have a conference in the United Kingdom. By the way, there's a conference in Toronto, Canada. Inshallah, I advise you all to try and attend the conference in a week from now on family and children, only on the basis that we support Ahlul Sunnah wherever they are. I told the brothers in Washington, D.C., I said, you brothers that are sitting here today, come to Florida and meet your brothers from Ahlul Sunnah in Florida. I told the brothers in Florida, come to Newark, New Jersey. There's a conference in Newark, New Jersey. I'm telling you now, my brothers, come to Newark for the conference this weekend. And come also to Toronto. How far is the drive? 12 hours, nothing. I must have driven about 72 hours by now. Look, I'd landed in Newark, drove to Washington, D.C. From D.C. all the way down to Orlando, and then to West Palm Beach, South Florida. Then all the way back up to here. Then tomorrow up to Newark, New Jersey. Then to Chicago. Then to Toronto. Join me. America's renowned for these, what do you call them, road trips. Route 66 and all of that, you know. America's renowned for it. How come no one likes traveling? Or jump on a flight. But make it, ya ikhwan. We have a conference in Birmingham, United Kingdom. You can fly to that one. We've invited our brothers, Abdul Wali, Abul Hassan Malik, Anwar Wright, Hassan al-Somali. Who else have we invited? That's it. Akashif Khan. 5 brothers we've invited, all 5 have agreed to come. For their love of Ahlul Sunnah. For their love of Ahlul Sunnah. Abu Yad has been here, Abu Hakim has been here before. We travel, we visit each other, we meet each other to benefit from each other and to remind each other of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is all that we're here for, barakallahu feekum. So we ask that you likewise aid in your cities across the United States. If the brothers have organized a conference somewhere, tell your wife, forget the shopping this weekend. Forget it. Put your money in your pocket. We'll spend it on the road trip. And we're going to Cleveland. The Cleveland conference coming up on the 20th, right? Go to the Cleveland conference. Go to the Toronto conference. وجزاكم الله خيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله